Harvard's athletics director has canceled its men's soccer team season after it was found that they had created so-called scouting reports that said some pretty questionable things about women in the school, particularly women who are in the soccer team at the school.
Well,
now,
you really don't know anything about sports, do you?
I really don't.
Yeah.
No, don't know anything about sports. But this is not a sports story. It has to do with some of their questionable behavior and the way that they wrote in public documents about women in a very degrading way. So, the 2012 men's soccer team created a scouting report of that year's women's soccer recruits, rating them numerically and assigning each a hypothetical sexual position. Look, it's one thing if you're gonna have, your boys talk about like, oh, that woman's hot and I like her, or whatever you men talk about, right?
Like, how you're gonna move on them like a bitch or something.
Yeah.
Well, that goes a little far. But it's another thing to create a publicly available document.
Yeah. No, not guilty. So we might have really a strong disagreement here. So they didn't mail this to the female team.
They just made a publicly available document on the internet where
Publicly available. It's a Google Doc. Why would anybody go into Harvard men's soccer's Google Doc where they're talking to one another? But it's not like they made a public document like they put it on Facebook or they tweeted it out. That's a Google Doc is shared in a group. Yes, it's technically public, but it's not meant to be public. Young college guys rated the appearance of young college women. Shocking, breaking news alert. So totally not guilty, in my opinion.
But it's
So you would be cool with your daughter going to college and then reading about how the men's soccer team talks about her wanting cock.
That's what guys talk about.
Oh, that's what guys talk about. And then they talk about grabbing women by the pussy.
They don't.
But that's different.
That's different.
Now, the soccer team didn't sexually assault anybody. So,
just
like,
because they didn't sexually assault anyone, just because they didn't put their hands on anyone, based on what we know, doesn't mean that this isn't wrong. So, look, if you agree with policies and laws against sexual harassment in the workplace, why doesn't this fall under that category? If there were a group of male employees in this office writing a similar document and I brought it to you,
100% different.
Why is it different?
I'll tell you why it's different.
It's not different.
Because one, they don't work together. Two, they're not on the same team. Three, the male team has no power over the female team.
They go to the same school.
Of course they do, and they hook up. So some of them hook up, some of them don't. And you know what? If you went to a frat party, some of the girls would be saying about some of the guys, he's got a nice ass, or oh, he's a fucking mess, or this, or that. And they talk about his tooth to gum ratio, and they would snicker. Because that's what women do, and that's what guys do. And we've been doing it for as long as humanity has existed. And so they put it in a Google Doc. Not guilty.
We do report on a lot of stories involving women in, athletic groups, creating these types of documents where they're talking about the size of a man's cock and whether or not he's worth being rated at a 10 or if he's worth being rated at a -5.
Okay, so they didn't put it in a Google Doc, Annie. Now, when you go to a club, you and your girlfriends don't talk about the guys and whether they're hot or not. Do you have them? Do you humor their approach based on whether they're hot or not?
That is so different, Cenk.
It is rating people on their attractiveness.
This is not just rating them on their attractiveness,
every single day.
No, this is not just rating them on their attractiveness. Talking about a woman saying, like, first of all, these are college freshmen coming in, being recruited into the soccer team, and they're being minimized to nothing more than vaginas. Let's keep it real. Is it an attractive vagina or an
every time I walked into a club, I was reduced to a cock.
I'm not done. Can I finish my point?
Okay.
It's a little different. I don't go into a club, even though I guess this wouldn't bother men. I don't go into a club thinking like, yeah, he wants pussy. Like, we just don't talk like that, right? Do I tell my friends? Just let me finish my point. Okay. We don't go in there. I don't know. Go ahead, just finish. I totally lost my train of thought.
I know, it's my fault. You're right. No,
it's fine. You think it's okay. We have a difference of opinion. When we have conversations about so-called rape culture, especially in Ivy League schools, and when we have stories involving frats going in front of, women's groups or sororities, saying things like, no means yes, and yes means anal, and we get mad about that. We can't get mad about that because apparently that type of behavior is acceptable. You just have to be a little more secretive about it.
No.
Okay, you can't be public about it. That's the only difference, right?
No, I totally disagree. Okay, so when you chant that in public, your intent is to intimidate people. Any guys out there or any women out there, you're not allowed to talk about anybody's bodies and whether you would do them or not. Okay, that's it. Shush. Oh, that guy came by and you didn't find him attractive at all. He was 400 pounds and he says something awkward. No, don't you dare judge him on his looks, because we'll kick you out of school. We'll end your program, etc. No, don't you dare judge. You just reduced him to a body. That's all you did. That's what every woman does in a club. That's what every guy does in a club. That's what every guy does in college. That's what every woman does in college. Every guy and every woman has had this conversation in a college.
Okay, let me try to calmly explain the importance of language, okay? Language matters, and you're minimizing this to nothing more than people rating someone as hot or not, okay? This goes further than that because of the language involved, okay? Do women judge men based on the way they look? Of course they do. That's human activity, that's human nature, that's something we agree on. But it's different when you refer to an individual as someone who wants cock. When you use that type of language, okay, it's degrading. So that's the issue here. It's not like, oh my God, men are trying to decide whether or not they find these women attractive. Of course they do that, okay? It's more about the way they speak about these women, the way that they're degrading them, and of course they're gonna have a problem with that. I think that the language is wrong, and we disagree on that.
Okay, last thing. So I agree with you that you've boiled it down to the part that we disagree on, okay? So the language there, if it was public, I would agree with you. If they went and chanted in front of the girls' soccer team, you all want cock, you all want, Jesus Christ, that's super ugly. It's, again, degrading, intimidating, etc., okay? You took the worst example of what one of them wrote in jest to his friends. No, he meant to make a joke among his friends. This is actual locker room talk. Okay, so do they all think like, oh yeah, no, that's a fact, she wants cock? No, it's a joke. They don't know. They're just kids who are like, ah, yeah, that one's too tall, that one's too short. She wants this and she wants that.